Parshas Chukas, Tavshin Ayin Gimel. Vayomer Hashem el Moshe. Hashem said to Moshe, v'el Aaron, and to Aaron, Ya'an loihem mantem bi, lahakdisheni, because you didn't have enough emunah to sanctify my name, le'enei b'nei Yisrael. And we're talking here in the parsha of the Mei Meriva, Lachein, therefore, Loi Saviu es hakahol hazeh, you're not going to get, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is telling Moshe v'Aaron, you're not going to be zoiche to bring Klal Yisrael el ha'oretz asher nosati lahem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe Rabbeinu by the Mei Meriva, Moshe Rabbeinu, because you hit the rock instead of talking to the rock, you will not be zoiche to take Klal Yisrael el ha'oretz asher nosati lahem into Eretz Yisrael. The Mefarshim actually speak at length about this parsha of Mei Meriva, and there are many questions asked. Let's ask one question first. What was the big chait? What did Moshe Rabbeinu do that was so bad already? We know when Klal Yisrael left Mitzrayim and they came to Refidim, and they also then complained that there was no water for them to drink. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu specifically commanded Moshe Rabbeinu there, V'hikisa v'atzur v'yotzu mimenu mayim. When they left Mitzrayim and they came to Refidim and there was no water, HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe Rabbeinu, you hit the rock and water will come out. And the nace over there was through hitting the rock. So why over here, many years later, why here was it that now Moshe Rabbeinu had to talk to the rock? What was wrong with the way they did business before in Refidim, where Moshe Rabbeinu was able to hit the rock? And why is it over here that there was a lack of lahakti sheni, to sanctify the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Why is it a lack of a Kiddush Hashem for Moshe Rabbeinu to hit the rock? I don't know about you, but if I saw either one, somebody either talking to a rock, HaKadosh Baruch Hu told someone talk to the rock or hit the rock, either way, it's a tremendous Kiddush Shem Shemayim. Whether you talk to the rock or you hit the rock, either way, there's a tremendous Kiddush Hashem. So why do we see over here that by hitting the rock, there was a lack of a Kiddush Shem Shemayim? Also, another kasha we could ask over here, why, at the end of the day, why did Moshe Rabbeinu hit the rock if HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe Rabbeinu to speak to the rock? Why did Moshe Rabbeinu do that at all? And if Moshe Rabbeinu did do it, we see the pasuk tells us that Moshe Rabbeinu hit the rock twice. So, what's going on over here? Why would Moshe Rabbeinu actually hit the rock if HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to talk to the rock? Another question that is asked, what's the connection between hitting the rock and the punishment of not being able to bring Klal Yisrael into Eretz Yisrael? HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, Moshe Rabbeinu, because you hit the rock, now you're not going to be Zaycha to bring Klal Yisrael into Eretz Yisrael. Be'emes, the Noam Elimelech, in Parshas Balak, next week's Parsha, he asks another question on this. And he says, don't we see from the Matzah that happened, don't we see that the Shechina was actually maskim to Moshe Rabbeinu at the end? Because had the Shechina not been maskim, Moshe Rabbeinu hit the rock, what should have happened? Nothing. Nothing should have happened. And we know that Moshe Rabbeinu hit the rock, and water came out of the rock. And not only did water come out of the rock, the pasuk says that a lot of water came out of the rock. And if it was against the Ratzon Hashem, had it been absolutely against the Ratzon Hashem, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu did not want it to work, then no water would have come out of the rock. Would HaKadosh Baruch Hu have made a nace if it was totally against his Ratzon? Also, another question, the Nesivos Shalom mentions, what we've said many times over the years, we know that the Eivorim of a tzaddik, the limbs of tzaddikim, automatically do the Ratzon Hashem. So if the limbs of tzaddikim automatically do the Ratzon Hashem, Moshe Rabbeinu was avada in that madrega of a tzaddik. What happened over here that Moshe Rabbeinu was able, HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, talk to the rock, and Moshe Rabbeinu's limbs were able to move, and his hand was able to he's able to pick up a stick and hit the rock. The Nesivos Shalom explains this entire thing with an extremely important yisoid, and this is a yisoid in bitachon, a yisoid that everybody has to know, a life's lesson over here. He says like this, that whether or not a person needs to make hishtadlus, we know that when it comes to the inyan of parnasa, so everybody talks about by parnasa that a person has to make his hishtadlus. We think a person has to try, he has to work, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu will then give you the bracha. And the Nesivos Shalom says that whether or not a person has to do hishtadlus and how much hishtadlus he has to do is directly toloi in his level of emunah and bitachon. In other words, if a person's emunah and bitachon is complete, if it comes with complete clarity that Hashem is certainly going to help you, Zok to Nesivos Shalom, you would not have to do anything. If your bitachon was so clear and that you believed wholly that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to help you at all times, and He's going to give you parnasa, and He's going to do everything for you, you would not have to do anything. However, if you lack that kind of emunah, then you actually have to do things. You have to do hishtadlus. That's when you have to do hishtadlus. And that's how hishtadlus work. In other words, the more you think you have to do, the more you're actually going to have to do. So if a person, let's just take a lesson for today, if a person runs around and he works 20 hours a day, and he pushes off his state of learning and his davening and everything, the more, why? Because you have to do hishtadlus. The more hishtadlus you think you have to do, the more you're going to have to do. And it's direct correlation between the two sides. And that's the way it works. And it's brought down from the Zohar, and the Nesivos Shalom says it's brought down from the Zohar, that the Iker Zechus to attain Eretz Yisrael, the Iker thing that allows us to keep Eretz Yisrael is the Midas HaBitachon. You see from Sukkim, Pasuk Tehillim, B'tach B'Hashem V'asei Toiv Shechon Ba'aretz. If a person has bitachon, then you're able to dwell in the land. Vishavtem levetach ba'artzachem. When will you be ba'artzachem? Vishavtem levetach. When you have bitachon, it is directly contingent on your level of bitachon. The more bitachon a person has, the more secure you will be in Eretz Yisrael. And this is actually, maybe we should inform the people who are taking care of security in Eretz Yisrael and everything that's going on in Eretz Yisrael today, that they're pulling the B'nai Torah and everything out of the yeshivas, out of the shuls, out of everything that they stand for. Eretz Yisrael, security is totally in bitachon. The more absolute bitachon you have, the more security you're going to have. So speaking to the sellout, speaking to the rock, to get water out, that shows total bitachon. Without any hishtadlus. You're speaking to the rock. You're just making a bakasha. You'd be talking to the rock. Moshe Rabbeinu thought that Bnei Yisrael were not on that level right now. And that Bnei Yisrael need some hishtadlus. He thought they're not on that level. So Moshe Rabbeinu went ahead, even though HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to talk to the rock, Moshe Rabbeinu went and he did a maisa of hitting the rock. And not only did he hit the rock once, he hit the rock twice, because Moshe Rabbeinu felt, he hit it pa'amayim, he hit it twice, to show that that's the level Moshe Rabbeinu thought, that they need not just hishtadlus, they need even a little bit more hishtadlus. The Divrei Shmuel says, brought down here in the Nesivos Shalom on this week's parsha, that Moshe Rabbeinu made a kal v'chomer. He said to himself, that Madach after Yetzias Mitzrayim and Kriyas Yamsuf, when Klal Yisrael was on such a high madrega, and they came to Refidim, Hashem said to hit the rock. So Avada now, after, unfortunately, they had the Chet HaEgel, and they had the Meraglim, of course he made a Kal V'chomer for himself, that talking alone would not suffice. Moshe Rabbeinu felt that now talking, you need more Hishtadlus. That at this juncture, where Klal Yisrael was now holding, you definitely had to hit the rock. And that was the level they were on of Hishtadlus. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu did not feel that way. HaKadosh Baruch Hu felt differently. Hashem wanted to show his ava, his love for Klal Yisrael, even after the Chet. And this is a lesson. That when somebody is Choyte, but he does tshuva and he feels bad, HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to show the ava. He wanted to show Klal Yisrael that he's still close to Klal Yisrael. And he wanted Moshe Rabbeinu Dafka to talk to the rock, to show that lesson that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is still close to Klal Yisrael. Another thought here, the Nesivos Shalom says, is that before Kabbalah HaTorah, the only way to remove Ra, the only way to do Chet, was with Hakah. And he doesn't mean actual hitting really, but he means like what people would do Sigufim, Tanesim, those kind of things. But once we had Klal Yisrael, then it was a whole different world. You're able to talk. HaKadosh Baruch Hu was much closer to Klal Yisrael. Barasi Yetzer Hara, and then Barasi Torah Tavlin. The antidote, the remedy now is Torah. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to teach Klal Yisrael now, at this point, that the way things work in Eretz Yisrael is one way only. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, talk to the rock. Why? To elevate your level of bitachon. Because now when you come to Eretz Yisrael, you have to have that level of bitachon that is without hishtadlus at all. At Refidim, when they left Mitzrayim, so hitting the rock was good enough. Now when they go into Eretz Yisrael, no. Dibur, you have to have that level of bitachon. In the pneumius of every yid, Zok Nesivos Shalom, inside the neshama of every yid, there is that place of absolute bitachon. It just needs to be brought out. A person has to be maimin. Sometimes we don't believe enough in ourselves. A person, before being a maimin, you have to be maimin that you are a maimin. You have to believe that you are somebody who believes. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu knew that inside Klal Yisrael, they're on that madrega. So therefore, HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe Rabbeinu, you talk to the rock. And Moshe Rabbeinu didn't know that. Moshe Rabbeinu didn't feel that Klal Yisrael was on that level. So when HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, Yan loy hemantem bi, that they didn't believe in me enough, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that Moshe Rabbeinu didn't believe in enough, HaKadosh Baruch Hu was telling Moshe Rabbeinu, you did not instill enough emunah in Klal Yisrael to teach them what? That they are maminim. And they could be on that level of absolute bitachon. Therefore, Moshe Rabbeinu was punished not to lead. That was the punishment, that he couldn't take them into Eretz Yisrael. Because in Eretz Yisrael, absolute bitachon is the only way to live and be secure in Eretz Yisrael. Just to end off, we asked the Kasha, how are the Eivarim of Moshe Rabbeinu, how are his limbs able to go ahead and do the mice of hitting the rock if the limbs of tzaddikim always do the Ratzon Hashem? The Nesivos Shalom says it must be that the Ratzon Hashem was that Moshe Rabbeinu should not go into Eretz Yisrael. Because if Moshe Rabbeinu would have gone into Eretz Yisrael, HaKadosh Baruch Hu would not have been able to destroy the Beis HaMikdash and take out his anger on Eitzim Va'avonim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu Chas V'Sholom would have had to punish Klal Yisrael themselves. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't want to do that. So it had to be that Moshe Rabbeinu did not go into Eretz Yisrael. Because had Moshe Rabbeinu gone in, there would have been, there would have been no Churban, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu would have had to punish Klal Yisrael in another way. Let's take this lesson of bitachon, understand the different levels of bitachon and hishtadlus, and let us remember, when it comes to parnasa, when it comes to everything in life, that the more bitachon you have, that's how much siyata d'shmaya you're going to have. The more hishtadlus you think you need, that's how much hishtadlus you're going to have to do. And that is the lesson here that we could learn from the main Meriva in Parshas Chukas.